The Epstein emails, anyone who's telling you this is huge is a liar. Anybody who's telling you this is it, here we go, Trump's going down, is full of shit and just doing clickbait. Now, here's what I've always said about Epstein, and I have a lot of deep sourcing in and around this, okay? With Bongino, with Kash Patel, and now with Ro Khanna, and all the guys on the left, they're all full of shit, and they're playing you. But anyone who's telling you right now, oh, this is big, I've never seen them this scared, that person is full of shit. And I say release all the files, and then you'll see what there was there and what people knew wasn't there. And then you'll know what to trust, and who to tell to fuck off.
What we see today is a bunch of innuendo. It's hearsay. There isn't any direct backup for any allegation, because there aren't any allegations other than Trump may have been in a house where there are some girls. Right. Okay. So you have the lady in question, and I feel very bad for Miss Giuffre's family. He committed suicide. What a horrible thing. The whole thing is just awful. And that's right on Epstein. You have her saying under oath, Trump didn't do anything, and you have Maxwell. But here's the most important person you have, not under oath. Dershowitz. Dershowitz was Epstein's lawyer, and lawyer-client confidentiality ends with death. Dershowitz went on television today, said, I have all of the Epstein stuff, and there isn't anything. And I asked Epstein directly, while I was representing him, whether Donald Trump was involved in any kind of untoward activity. And Epstein said no. So now you have the three principal players in this case, all saying the same thing. Yet the press is so irresponsible, so corrupt, so hateful, they will not even mention that. It's death by innuendo. That is what they are aiming for.
Stephen A., what you think?
I get that. And I think that what Bill said and just articulated is incredibly important. It is death by innuendo.
Look, so let's just cut through the noise because I'm already seeing folks get way too hyped off of this so-called Epstein emails. Like we finally got something explosive, like this finna be the knockout punch on Trump. And I'm telling you straight up, anybody saying that is lying to you. Basically, they're clickbaiting, gaslighting, and they think you're dumb enough to fall for it. And see, this whole Epstein thing has always been shady, not because of what we do know, but because of what they won't let us see. And now all of a sudden they want to act like these redacted, watered down documents are game changers. Like, bro, please. They dropped emails with half the damn names blacked out and everyone's acting like that's proof of something. But there ain't no smoking gun. Because what actually dropped is a bunch of suggestive noise, not real evidence, not hard facts, not even a clear accusation that holds legal weight. And it's like someone giving you a puzzle with half the pieces missing and telling you, here's the full picture. Like, nah, bro, this ain't that. And here's the part that gets me hot, because the same people screaming, release the files. When Trump was in office, suddenly hit the brakes when he had full control of the government, which is, I'm talking about the Democrats, because I find it mind blowing that why, when Trump get in office, suddenly the brakes was hit on releasing the Epstein files. We had the Biden administration, they had about 4 years and so forth to release what they wanted to release, right? And the Democrats had the White House, the Senate, and the House for Avengers lineup, and yet they never pushed to release the full Epstein files. Why? And I'll tell you why, because the moment that spotlight swings too wide, it stops being a Trump thing and it starts being an everybody thing. Rich men, celebrities, politicians, bankers, lawyers, people with buildings named after them, scholarships in their name, who whole legacies built off blood money. And they don't want that heat, and they want to control the narrative. So instead of dropping the full files, they cherry pick the parts they could twist, redact the parts that clear people, and serve it to you on a silver plate like, look what we found. But it's mind blowing to me because what you found was a way to weaponize trauma and play with victim stories just to score political points. And to me, that's sick. I mean, look what we've seen with the government shutdown when it came to SNAP. The Democratic Party was willing to hold the government hostage and make Americans go hungry who actually use SNAP as a lifeline to make ends meet, to actually put food on the table, just for the simple fact of healthcare subsidies, right? And then they follow up with these Epstein files hoax again. And it's mind blowing to me that the Epstein files hoax or the story and the backlash with Trump faded away when they were so big on their plan on holding the government hostage for healthcare subsidies. And once they didn't get their way with healthcare to illegals, they go right back to the Epstein files. And it's like someone that's so mad at you and they try to basically paint a narrative that's not true to take the heat off of them by deflecting, because the reality is they are really the problem. And even if you held them accountable in private and you're still not entertaining their narratives, they're still finding a narrative to ruin your reputation in the public view, because everybody wants to convict people in a court of public opinion nowadays and not facts. And that's the shameful part about it. But now I want to show you guys what Jasmine Crockhead had to say. I do not like this woman. She doesn't come from a ghetto background, but she's like cosplaying and put it on the show for political points as well, which I feel like is disingenuous to the American people. But anyway, check out what she had to say.
That the Department of Justice didn't have this information? And if they didn't have this information, do we know whether or not they actually deleted this information? Do we know that there was a thorough investigation? Do we know whether or not the investigation had concluded? These are all questions that we need answers to, but we can't get them when you're not cooperating. So we don't know what the DOJ has, nor what it is that the DOJ potentially was trying to do. Considering that the president right now is trying to obstruct on some very basics of let's just get a subpoena that says release all the information, I wouldn't be surprised, just like he obstructed the prosecution of one of his henchmen who took $50,000 in taxpayer dollars from undercover officers. I wouldn't be surprised if he sent a message and said, stop investigating. We're done with this. Epstein's dead. I don't want to hear anything else about it.
Do you have any evidence of that claim?
I have no idea. No.
My point exactly. She don't got no evidence. She just talking out her ass. She just said it. Look, if I rewind it, look.
I don't want to hear anything else about it.
Do you have any evidence of that claim?
I have no idea. No. That's the whole point. I have no.
So why is that unqualified person talking about something they don't qualify to talk about with no facts to able to substantiate their point in the first place? This is what I mean by convicting people in a court of public opinion. Take a narrative, take a story, misconstrue it to your liking in regards of weaponizing against a person to get people to basically come together and commemorate against a person just based off of a narrative and not on facts. And that's very dangerous, because you start tugging on the emotions of people and you start banking on people ignorance not to do the research, which is why we're having a conversation right now. And I'm bringing the truth to you guys, and also common sense and critical thinking, because the simple fact is you have people sitting here really like, oh, Trump is horrible. I can't stand with someone who basically dealt with a scandal dealing with innocent children, and this whole thing of sexualizing them and this whole child ring and so forth with Jeffrey Epstein and so forth. How horrible. Now, the only thing is, like I would say for anyone else who goes through the courts, right? Or someone who was actually accused of something, let it play out and let them, innocent until proven guilty. Let them prove to themselves and let the ruling play out through the courts and legal matters when it comes from a legality standpoint. And if they happen to be guilty, then that's what it is. If they happen to be innocent, then that's what it is. But this whole thing of just having narratives and not having no evidence, it gotta stop. You're ruining people's legacies, names, reputations, and Jasmine Crockett wouldn't like this done to her. That's what blows my mind. It has to stop. It's all not only deceiving, but it's also deception in its truest form, which is just pure evil and pure demonic. And the very thing is, she's spewing things out her mouth, but I hope that she clean her own backyard and make sure that her house was clean, because at the end of the day, someone that usually weaponize stories and narratives usually have skeletons in their closet they don't want to talk about. But let's continue.
No information. And that's why we need these files to be released, because we are looking for transparency, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, or independent. Listen, if people decide that they want to continue to support a person who may be a pedophile himself, or a person who obviously is covering for pedophiles, that's on them. But they should know at least the devil that they have decided to pick.
In supporting what Donald Trump is doing.
You're talking about the other predators out there, in addition to Trump. I mean, I'm not saying he is. We don't know all the details about that. I just mean in addition to what we've learned about Epstein and others, there's other predators out there.
There are, and we have to remember that our.
Well, there you have it, folks. Now, I'm finding it mind blowing because when you get, let's get into the real grime through, because they literally redacted the name Virginia Giuffre, the one girl who's been at the center of the Epstein case from the jump. And the reason why they hid her name is because she said on her oath that Trump didn't do anything, and she cleared them. She said it with her chest in court. But instead of letting y'all see that, they took her name out to make it seem like some anonymous victim was implying Trump was on some creep time. And that's not journalism. That's not justice. That's narrative manipulation. And that's like showing someone a photo but cropping out the part where the person is smiling and then saying, look, he was mad. And they trying to build a whole story off of vibes and hoping the average viewer don't ask questions and just runs with whatever they're told. And that's the part that really is annoying, because that's what's annoying. But in the same breath, I guess this is politics for you, right? So I want to play another clip.
Hey everybody, Tim Burchett, back on the farm in Tennessee after opening the government up yesterday. I put forth a UC, which is a motion for unanimous consent, and it was for Ro Khanna's bill. It didn't even have anything to do with Massey's. His still there, and they can do whatever they want to with that. Hey everybody, Tim Burchett, back on the farm in Tennessee after opening the government up yesterday. I put forth a UC, which is a motion for unanimous consent, and it was for Ro Khanna's bill. It didn't even have anything to do with Massey's. His still there, and they can do whatever they want to with that. But Ro Khanna's bill just said release the files, and dadgummit, that's what everybody wants, apparently, and that's what I did. And the Democrat leadership opposed to it, and that's why that they said it was in fact not in order, because to be unanimous consent, of course, is unanimous. Now, if you don't believe my words, read the House Manual, page 805. I believe it's the second paragraph down, and you can read it for yourself. It's public record. They're either lying to y'all or they're just intentionally trying to mislead you. I think a little bit of both by some of them, and some of them honestly just are just mistaken. But anyway, that's what it's about. It's about releasing Ro Khanna's bill, page 805. Also, if you will go back and look at some of the comments, people are saying, well, I did that to hide so you won't know how they voted. No, in fact, that is the whole definition of a unanimous consent. It is unanimous. It means that you voted in favor of it. You can't hide behind anything and say, well, I didn't vote for that. Well, you had your opportunity on the floor under unanimous consent, and apparently the Democrats are just playing games. They're not about getting the truth out, folks. This is just about power and control, just like the shutdown was for. It had nothing to do with doing what's right and looking after the innocent and punishing the guilty. And that's what all this is about.
Well, there you have it, folks. There you have it. Before we get to Stephen A. Smith in a minute, this is the dumbest part. The same Democrats who redacted the name and stopped the files from being fully released turn around and block the bill, like he just said, that was literally just about releasing the files. Like, no political angle, no Trump clause, no MAGA BS. Just straight up bill to declassify the Epstein stuff so we all can see what's what. And you heard what was said. Congressman Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie, a Democrat and a Republican, teamed up to push it. bipartisan. And when that bill hit the floor, Democrat leadership said nope. Why block that? Because if you care about the victims like you say you do, if this is really about justice, why stop a bill that helps the public finally see the truth? Because it ain't about justice. You know what I'm saying? It's about timing. It's about control. It's about having the files, but waiting until just the right moment to drop half truths to smear whoever you want. And what's crazy, they tried to sneak it under the rug on the same day they were taking backlash for the shutdown, right? That I just talked about, the government shutdown. Coincidence? Hell no. That's political misdirection. Don't look over here at the fact we just messed up the economy and food stamps. Look at Trump's name in the Epstein email. That's basically what it is. And that's why I get so annoyed, because people are like, oh, Trump's a pedophile and this and that. On what base? What basis do you have? What fact? What evidence? Wake up and stop worrying about some damn Epstein files. Is that going to change your life? Is that going to help you beneficially to help you get to the next level where you need to be going in life? When this man is trying to fix your economy and actually get rid of fraud and abuse and actually bring the American jobs back, and you worrying about Epstein files? I'm sure if the man would, as much as they took Donald Trump to court, I'm pretty much sure they would have been convicted this man if he was really that involved in Epstein files before he became back president in his second term on behalf of Americans who basically voted for Donald Trump to be president because they believe in what he's doing, and he's doing everything that he basically said he's doing, or campaign doing, I should say. Now, I want to get to Stephen A. Smith, because shout out to Stephen A. Smith for keeping it a buck. Look, even he, a mainstream moderate voice, pro-Democrat, now mind you, this man voted for Kamala Harris. I'm not fond of Stephen A. Smith. I feel like he yells too damn much in the camera and the mic. But he had a legitimate question, because he said, hold up, why now? Why not during the Biden's first term when y'all have full power with this Epstein stuff? It don't make sense, because if you had something real on Trump, y'all would drop that years ago. But check it out. Don't take my word for it.
Young girls being sexually molested is as disgusting as it gets. It is as vile as it gets. We ain't making any excuses for anybody like that. What a despicable, despicable human being. There's a special place in hell for people like that. But that's not what anybody can definitively associate the president with. He knew Epstein, so did Bill Clinton. So did a plethora of other famous people inside and outside the world of politics. Incriminating emails, well, what specifically and how significant was it? And when we sit up there as Democrats and we're applauding on the House floor, now that Alita Grijalva was there talking about she'll be the final vote to sit up there and open the Epstein files, and everybody's applauding for the Democratic Party. Ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind that the Epstein files were in existence and free to have been opened during the Biden administration. You were there for 4 years. How come you didn't open it as a Democratic Party then? What am I missing?
Nothing.
I'm not saying I know. It's a legitimate question. Maybe I don't remember the answer. Maybe my extraordinary producers should be able to help me during the commercial break. But from my understanding, the same files that were open or being open now with the 220 pages of documents or whatever it is, with various emails, that could have been done when Biden was in office. Well, why didn't you do it? If it's so important now. What were the Democrats doing at that particular moment in time? See, this is the kind of stuff that smells. Because my attitude is, just deducing how much they despise Trump, is if there was some real bona fide dirt on him, since you went after him with the 34 felony convictions, which essentially was deduced to him paying hush money to Stormy Daniels, a porn star, just so she wouldn't reveal their happenings with one another. leading up to the election in 2016. Okay? If you had something like that you were willing to parade him through the streets with, of course, if you had something on him about Epstein, you'd have let it go earlier to make sure he didn't become the 47th president. That's just my thinking from a logical perspective. But what do I know? Either way you slice it, when that kind of stuff is going on, all it does is foster the continual divide that is inevitably going to exist. One side hates each other so much that neither side is willing to negotiate and work with one another until desperate times means desperate measures.
Mm.
And the American people are the ones that suffer first, and they're the ones that suffer the most before the residual collateral impact is truly, truly felt. That's the damn problem.
Mm-hmm.
And even with the end of this shutdown taking place, I still find myself thinking, more the same, ain't nothing new. A continual resolution likely be reached.
So I'm gonna leave it there, but bro. People gotta start using basic logic. This whole situation is like if you had the answers to a test for 4 years, but you only decide to pull them out right before the test ends and yell, haha, I got dirt. Like, what were you doing for the last 4 years? It is about desperation. Stephen A. Smith is right. This is about losing ground with voters, especially after the shutdown disaster, and needing a new story to push. But here's the kicker. It ain't working because now even moderate Democrats, independents, and people who don't even mess with Trump are saying, yo, this don't smell right. And they're realizing this ain't about protecting victims or exposing truth. This is about clout chasing headlines and trying to stay relevant in an election year. And let's be real here. Nobody is saying Epstein wasn't a monster. Nobody is saying the girls weren't victims. That's not up for debate. What is up for debate is how y'all over here using those victims paying to run smear campaigns with zero real evidence. And that's what makes this whole thing so twisted, because these are real girls who were hurt by real predators. And instead of treating that story with the seriousness and dignity it deserves, politicians out here playing games, holding up unredacted documents like it's WWE. And you know what's worse? Y'all insulting the intelligence of your own supporters. Like, how dumb do you think people are? You redacted a name that's already public. Like it's not on Google. Like people wouldn't figure it out. Like this ain't the age of the internet. So at the end of the day, and I'll close here, this whole Epstein file drop is a desperate Hail Mary by people who are panicking. Because the elections are coming up, midterm elections, right? Which has to deal with seats and so forth in the House and all that stuff. Because Biden ain't got the momentum, because the shutdown made the Democrats look goofy. And now they praying this Epstein noise distracts y'all long enough for them to scrape together some popularity. But it's not going to work because people are waking up. People are seeing through, and they realizing that if you really wanted the truth, you would have dropped all the files unredacted day one. But y'all didn't. Y'all waited. Y'all redacted names that cleared people. And y'all use hearsay and have truths to create a headline. And when it comes to the real truth, you fought to block it every step of the way. So this ain't about Epstein. This ain't about justice. This is about narrative warfare. And once people realize that the whole game falls apart, and that's why it's never over for Trump, because every time they try to bury him, they expose themselves. Every time they overplay their hand, they give them more ammo. So you can say Trump is finished all you want, but as long as y'all keep pulling stunts like this, he's going to keep winning. Honestly, that's on y'all. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe and join the family if you haven't. And let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. As always, we just here to have a conversation. I'll catch you the next one. I appreciate you guys for rocking with me. And if you watch this far in the video, thank you. Peace.